So welcome guys, I'm Amanda Villarreal and we try to each week bring you guys, I shouldn't say try, we do every week bring you guys a new topic to help give ideas and suggestions on ways that we can naturally build health. And tonight's topic is a great one because this is in very impactful, condition that so many people deal with. And we're very excited to hear from Norma tonight. She's going to be sharing here in a little while. But we want to just kind of talk through here a little bit of information. So, I have worked, with people from an exercise standpoint and from a nutrition standpoint for, well over 20 years now. And I do find that inflammation seems to be a common problem that holds people back from many things. And I don't think it's talked about enough of how inflammation, when we talk about arthritis, a lot of times we neglect that inflammation is tied to so many things beyond just arthritis. So if you're looking at the screen there, this was actually in a Time Life magazine. They talked about how there's a link between inflammation and even things like cancer and Alzheimer's and heart attacks. So we know that inflammation has so much more to do with what goes in our body than just causing issues like arthritis and even autoimmune type things. So we want to kind of, just give a little bit of information and foundation so we understand the severity of this. And when we look at the different types of arthritis and how many people this affects, it's considered a chronic condition. And if you're familiar with arthritis, there is two types. There's acute and then there's the chronic. So, looking at getting an injury would be something that's different versus chronic where it's all the time. So, the different types of arthritis, and the rheumatoid arthritis is actually the third most common. So a lot of people are very familiar with that, but osteoporosis, gout, and rheumatoid, affects so much of our population today. And the most common is osteoarthritis. So this is a degenerative disease, which I really like this picture because it shows the breakdown, basically of what happens to your cartilage. And this can be from many different reasons. This can be somewhat genetic. This could be caused from different types of impact type workouts we do. This could be from a tendency of having, issues with our bone mass because some people just have natural degeneration. So there's a lot that we can do though to minimize the progression of that. And that's also where we want to also look at, what are the connections between these different types of arthritis? And if we look at them, even the autoimmune connection, it still revolves around that very first slide, which was inflammation. And there is even correlation with things as just Crohn's disease, lupus, MS. This is all connected. And I don't think that a lot of times when, again, we hear of autoimmune diseases, we don't categorize these all together. And if we can do some of the things that are known but are not talked about enough, it can absolutely be life-changing for many people. And this is talking about quality of life. And this is our focus. When we use over-the-counter medications and things that are foreign to our body, we notice that there's going to be some type of side effect long-term from those things. And I know if I asked any of you on here, most likely, somebody, almost maybe on a daily or weekly basis uses probably ibuprofen, something, because you're in a chronic state of pain. And when we start to know that what happens long-term on those, it will really open up your eyes to realizing that, those are not meant to be used long-term. So look at acetaminophen there. That's the number one cause of liver failure in the US, ibuprofen, very damaging to the kidneys. Now with arthritis, like we're talking about tonight, they use much stronger medications though that can actually really severely damage organs. So we also want to note that there are needs for medication, right? But we also need to know what we can do to be proactive. And that is our goal with these Zooms every week, that our team really wants to bring information out there to let you guys know there are natural options. And there's so much we can do to be working on not waiting until we are at that place where we are desperate, but starting to focus on doing small changes now really does make a lifestyle change and what will happen to what happens to you long term. So number one, we really encourage people to look at losing weight. Weight loss is going to obviously affect your joints. So if we can be at a healthy weight, that would be ideal. And there's plenty of research actually supporting that and the effects of what happens when we lose weight and arthritis. We also want to look at exercise, and a lot of people don't want to exercise because it's painful, right? And they, if any of you struggle with this, this is debilitating for many people, and it can be very challenging. But almost everyone and every client that I've had that has arthritis, they will tell you once they get moving, generally they feel better. And why that is, because as you move and you get blood flowing, it's going to help reduce that inflammation. And if inflammation is reduced, we have less pain. So there's a correlation with all of these things, including with your diet. If we are eating a high processed, high white flour, high, simple carbohydrates, we're going to notice that our body holds on to more inflammation. So the more vegetables we can eat to help create more of an alkaline environment in our bodies is also going to be key for helping with arthritis. And we're going to talk about some supplements here in a second, but just really quickly, some tips on your diet. Fruits and vegetables, not rocket science. Get back to the basics with your diet. Fats and oils. We're going to be talking about the supplementation benefits of those, and also making sure that you're including good quality protein. Protein is also, again, a great way, as long as it's used as a plant-based source, to help get rid of inflammation. It's a building block. So we want to make sure that we're getting good quality protein. So one of the most simple and basic things we can look at for people that are trying to reduce that inflammation to help with joint pain and helping to, help you move better is increasing the amounts of fatty acids in your diet. This could be by supplementation or by foods, but we highly recommend supplementing, because most of us in our diet, we're very good. If you see on there, the typical Western diet is 1 omega-3 to 15 omega-6s. We're very high on the omega-6 end, but not on the 3s. And that's why if we can get a balanced supplement, you're going to find that it's going to help work in a balanced way to create what we need for getting things lubricated. Now, the other thing we want to mention here, we are advocates of Shaklee products. We have used them many decades, and we 100% believe, because they're nature-based and the clinical studies are there, that they work. But we also want to highlight that sometimes what's on the bottle, you might have to stray from that a little bit. One size doesn't work for everyone. This is not like medication where you ever have to worry about overdosing. Sometimes it can take a little work and a little trial and error to figure out the best program for someone. So we're going to share a lot of ideas with you, and you can kind of, pick and choose good places to begin. I'm going to share here really fast. Rusty Oast is actually he is a clinical nutritional scientist, I believe is his title, but he has a great story about how he has rheumatoid arthritis, and he was to the point where he couldn't get out of bed in the morning. And he just shared, what he had found through diet and exercise and the things, a lot of those things we know, but his program turned into, he has to take 12 Omega Guard and 6 GLAs every single day, and is now off all meds and is running. And he's now in his 70s and is, and that's our goal, is we want to see that long-term lifestyle approach of our health and what we're putting in our bodies. So that's what I'm telling you. Again, some of these things could change, but I'm just giving you some ideas. If you wonder what GLA is, that's gamma-linolenic acid. I'm going to show you a picture that will help to explain a little bit more of this in a little bit here. And garlic is also another one. Garlic is known as a natural anti-inflammatory. So using a lot of garlic, you can cook with it, but again, supplementing oftentimes is easier because people don't like to smell like garlic, and you can get a lot more by swallowing a pill and having to eat it, but even incorporating it into more of your foods that you're choosing. So here's again the difference between the two and the omega-3s and the 6s, and looking at what they do. So both act as lubricants because it's an oil, okay? That's what we think of oils. They're going to help with, brain health, heart health, all those things. But there's little differences between the GLA and the Omega Guard. This is going to be a full spectrum omega balance. This is specific to gamma-linolenic acid. So GLA is used a lot in women's hormone health. If you've ever heard of like safflower oil, those are used in different ways for focusing on specific types of hormones, whereas Omega Guard is going to be your full spectrum ratio of just covering the balance between omega-3s and 6s. So that's why we mentioned both, because they do have very different properties to them. If you ever heard of borage oil, that's another one that's very similar, and there's actually some of that in the GLA complex. So different ways and different ratios of using omegas. Now we also have options for creating natural pain relief, and again, we don't have too much time because I want to make sure we have plenty of time for Norma to share, but our pain relief trio, again, we need instant relief for something that is causing our joints to hurt, because if we can't move, we are not going to be wanting to go out there and do more. We're going to continue to gain weight. It's a cycle. So we have to figure out ways to break it. And this is what's great about these products is they're fast acting. So for example, if you start with the joint and muscle pain cream, you rub it on, it's a topical, and it will actually help to heat the area that has inflammation. So if you know starting out, for example, you're someone that it's starting with your knees maybe, that if you can start to just use the cream to get by, that's going to be a huge relief for you compared to having to use, you know, an over-the-counter pain reliever. Joint Health Complex is another one we want to highlight. And this is a glucosamine supplement. Most people are very familiar with glucosamine, but there's different types of glucosamine. And just really quickly to mention, most of your store brands are sulfates. And sulfates are very high in sodium, and that can be a concern because most people don't want more sodium in their diet. But what is in the Joint Health, it's actually the hydrochloride, which is the best absorbed, and combined with boswellia, that's a natural way also to reduce inflammation. So Joint Health is great because if you don't notice something within 5 days, it's probably not doing you any good. So it's very fast. So again, people with arthritis, we have tremendous results with using Joint Health, and it works for years. So love Joint Health. Pain Relief Complex would be your alternate to taking something like an ibuprofen. Okay, so something that's going to help with creating, if you're reading on the screen there for pain relief, it's different inhibitors that help to create the release of where that inflammation is being held onto. So if you look at the anti-inflammatory properties, and again, we were mentioning with using some of the over-counter things and, you know, stomach bleeding and intestinal bleeding, you're not going to find that with using something that is completely safe and provides the same concept of shutting off the right prostaglandins. So this picture here is a really cool picture. And I know it's a little bit complicated because a lot of people do not understand anything about prostaglandins, but this has a correlation with inflammation. So if you're reading at the bottom, omega-6 and GLA help to control prostaglandins 1, omega-3s and omega guard, which is found in there, your prostaglandins 3. And if you're reading the screen there, you can kind of see that all of them have a place. And that's why if we can get a right balance of controlling those, it can have a tremendous difference in, we can't stop arthritis, right? We can't stop a lot of degenerative type diseases, but we can control them. And that's our goal, is to be able to help keep people in a place where they can continue to function and continue to move and hopefully live a healthy lifestyle. So another area we want to just mention here really fast is Vivix. And this is to slow down the process at the cellular level of that inflammation continuing to basically expand and continue to, you know, work into areas that are maybe just beyond where they're starting. So maybe inflammation starts in your elbows, for example, but it will continue to travel through your body. So this will help to slow it down, so hopefully it doesn't continue to move. So we love Vivix, again, anti-aging, and this is great because some people really struggle with having a pill option, and there's a liquid, which is great too. Last one we want to mention here really fast. Well, there's one more, but you're all familiar with the next one. But alfalfa is one that a lot of people, again, are just completely, they know nothing about it except that, you know, cows eat alfalfa and that's all they think alfalfa is. But there is so much more to what alfalfa does. And I know for myself, this is what I use for inflammation. So I take a ton of alfalfa on a daily basis. For probably over 15 years, I've used 20 alfalfa a day. That is just my regimen. I have a circulatory condition, though, and it helps with my swelling on my left leg. So, you know, we all find the things that help, but if you're knowing that what you're using is completely safe, we want you to know about these things because, again, this can be life-changing when you can start to feel better and notices the differences very quickly. And I also want to mention vitamin C, because vitamin C ties everything together. And right now with what we have been going on, obviously we want immunity to be another big focus. So vitamin C can be used in lots of areas, but I will encourage you, you've got to take more than oftentimes what's talked about. Vitamin C is water absorbed. We are the only species that doesn't make vitamin C, so we have got to supplement with it or get it in our foods. So taking vitamin C in higher amounts for most of us, as long as it's not a synthetic version, is going to be very beneficial, especially if you notice, like I'm saying here, issues with your joints, connective tissue, cartilage, etc. So, and we burn vitamin C very quickly. And that's why oftentimes we need to add more. So just want to make sure, again, we definitely highlight vitamin C because it's crucial in our diet. And this is just a summary here really fast of a lot of the things we mentioned for joint health and arthritis, and some of the suggestions that, you know, we would love you to know about natural alternatives. And a very simplified way for some of us, we're looking like, I don't really know where to begin. We got to highlight here really fast our Prove It Challenge. If you're not familiar with that, that cleanse has some of those things in there we talked about. It has the alfalfa in there, but it helps to detox our body and jumpstart for then being able to absorb some of those nutrients. So many of us, if we've had a very toxic diet, we've been in a very toxic environment, we have had a lot of surgeries, we've been on a lot of medications, our body can resist wanting to let go of that inflammation. So if we can do something, for example, like a cleanse, oftentimes perfect way to jumpstart, and then lead into the rebuilding, which we incorporate then the omegas we talked about, which is in this strip, along with your B vitamins, your multivitamins, very comprehensive, but a great program for helping to rebuild. And it leads perfectly into Norma, because this is how Norma got started, and I absolutely love this both these pictures. Sarah actually posted these, and I just stole them from her her post. I saw those today, and I was like, you know what? These pictures are like perfect because it showcases like being healthy. It's not about weight, it's about being healthy. Like your skin, you're glowing, your eyes are bright, your hair. I mean, everything, you can just tell you're radiant, and that's our goal, is, you know, that long-term health. So Norma, we're going to turn it over to you if you don't mind sharing. Thanks for being with us tonight and offering to share your story.
Yeah. So for me, when I started experiencing some pain in my body, we were out of the country, and it was very close to the end of the assignment that we had over in Europe. And it was a regular day. I went to the gym and I worked out. And that evening when I got home, I was feeling more sore than I ever had before. And I had been working out in the gym, and I've been running for still a couple years now. So I didn't really think anything of it. But the pain didn't go away. We were, like I said, 2 weeks away from coming home. So I wasn't comfortable going to a doctor out there. So I took some ibuprofen, I took some Aleve, and I don't even like taking those. I don't like taking medication whatsoever. So made an appointment with the doctor back here at home, and then we saw her, and right away she put me on steroids to help with the inflammation. She checked me out and everything. And then it was until 2018 when I got into the rheumatologist, 3 months after we got home. So when I got into the rheumatologist, that was the other thing, is he talked about putting me on some medication right away. So already I didn't want to take medication. After he prescribed me, the methotrexate is what the medication was that I was on, and the steroids, I started to feel less pain with the arthritis, which, like I said, I really never had that before. So it was all new to me. The medication was new to me. So all I knew is I didn't want to take it, and I told that to the doctor. So what he told me was that I needed to go on a plant-based diet or whole foods to not be on the medication. So at that time, I still really didn't listen to the doctor. So he said to me the next time that I went to him, because he wasn't ready to take me off any kind of medication because I was still had inflammation in my body. So I tried a few different products that were out there, and some of those products, they didn't work for me. And then I went to the next product, and that one didn't work for me. And then when I went back to the rheumatologist, probably for like the third time, he finally, said to me again, asked me, if you're not changing your diet, you're not gonna see any inflammation go away, which I was very thankful that the doctor told me that, because he knew right away that I didn't want to be on this medication because it was just masking the whole, the issues that I was having. And it wasn't the root cause of it all. But so anyway, so fast forward, I was talking to a coworker at MVP, and she saw that I was still limping. She saw that my hand was still inflamed and my joints were just not normal. And she talked to me about the Prove It Challenge. So that pushed me and forced me into eating better. So I changed my diet as soon as I went to that Prove It Challenge. That was the push that I needed, because it forced me to eat those vegetables and the whole foods that Dr. Staley was telling me to do all along. And for me, it helped me like within that 7 days that I was on the Prove It Challenge. So it worked for me. And then I continued on doing the vitalizer strip and the protein shakes. And I haven't had inflammation in my body since September of 2019. So it's been, everything's been good. I've been consistently taking everything that I'm supposed to take. Back when I was having all this inflammation too, I was to the point where I couldn't work out anymore, and I wanted to cancel my membership with the gym. I was working out with a trainer and I wanted to cancel my training with her, and I didn't want to run anymore because at that time I felt like I wasn't making any progress. So again, it was not until I did the Proven Challenge that helped me, because I think it was, like you said, the detox that my body needed from all of the toxic stuff that I put in it, that really helped flush all that out. And I had a good foundation running after that to help me feel better. So I am working out yet. Right now I'm back to strength training consistently and running at least 3-4 times a week now. So I feel really good compared to what I did back in 2017. I didn't think that I would ever run again or work out, but I think what's helped is the strength training. So, and I keep moving, so I think that's been helpful too. And I have a lot more energy now than I ever have. So I think the difference is with what I have tried in the past, nothing really worked for my body or absorbed in my body like Shaklee product did. And again, I think that's what my body was telling me I needed.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Norma. So you're almost at 1 year.
I know it. I'm excited.
That was great. That's awesome.
Months too, and yeah. My family the same. They're just like, I can't even believe it's been that long. And yeah, I was pretty miserable. I couldn't move. I couldn't walk. I was limping. I was wheeled in a wheelchair from Europe to here to the airport, and I couldn't even believe that it was that bad. So I hurried up and did whatever I could to make sure that that wouldn't happen again. So.
That's awesome. I only know healthy Norma, so I didn't. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Does anybody have any questions for Norma or myself that you guys thought of or would like any clarification or explanation on? All right. Thanks, Norma. That was great. And if you guys do think of things, obviously reach out. We'd be happy to help you. Just to quickly wrap up here, I wanted to mention, because this is a brand new release as of today. So I just wanted to make sure you guys know about this. This is not tied to arthritis, but I think it's a very important one to mention. Is a new product is just coming out, supposed to be out by the end of this week, that everybody seems to be looking for disinfectant options because they're still hard to find. And this is the safest one we've ever found. But Shaklee's coming out with it. Had a basic G for many, many years, but now it's a G+. And if you're looking for concentrated, kills coronavirus, kills all of your main, viruses and things that you would need to be looking at, that this does everything. So wanted to make sure I highlighted that because again, it's brand new. So if you guys are sticking on for business training, we're going to talk about that here a little bit more, but I hope this was helpful, guys. And please share. We love to hear if you thought it was helpful. Let us know. We do this because we want to help you. And, I think that there's something inspiring and motivational about seeing and hearing what people are going through, because you know what, we all struggle, nobody's perfect, and we all have a story, and we hope that by people sharing, it's going to make a difference and impact others. So thanks for sharing, Norma. If you guys want to hang out, you are welcome to stick around for our business training part of this. Otherwise, have a great night, guys. Thank you.